Welcome to the MLS show. It is me, Baz, Ped. Loads of you have been asking where he is. He is
I'm here.
Here, bimboed up. Got Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV and New York Red Bulls supporter. Chris Pajak from Redmen TV, avid New York City fan.
Mate.
So I've got to make sure these two don't start
Hold on.
a little bit of a battle.
Why New York City?
It's like a 10-minute long video.
Yeah, let's just carry on now. You just chill.
Like Man City
Robbie,
fan or something.
Robbie,
sorry.
listen, because you're a star on BBC now. No BBC here. No BBC here. The other week, I was having a go at referees. CBBS. The other week, I was having a go at MLS referees. And this weekend, once again, we have seen 5 red cards, was it? When they should be basically rare. They're almost commonplace. Ped, what's going on?
I don't know. It's just awful. Just terrible decisions, and they all seem to be the same decision. And I'm not happy.
Is it? Do you blame referees before I give you a bit of information?
Considering I already know the information you're going to give me,
a load of questions.
Um,
Did you blame referees for that?
I've said before that I think referees are too quick to pull that card out the pocket in MLS. I've said it before, and that seems to be the way. But it might be someone else's fault. I don't know, Baz. Is it?
Right. Go on, Chris. Before
you tell them, because I'm just gonna steal your point.
Oh, were you? Well, don't do that, Chris. Yeah. Well, I was having a go at referees for fun over the weekend because it was ridiculous. I watched the game last night, and Lexi Leilas was talking about it and said basically, Peter Walton come out on Saturday.
Just love alliteration.
The great Peter Walton. We all remember him for how great an official he was here in England.
He's in charge of the referees in MLS, so. Okay. That's half the battle, isn't it?
There's problems. But he's come out and apparently said MLS bosses went to the referees at the start of the season and said any kind of challenge with your studs up is a red card, regardless of the ball.
I've got a question.
Right?
So, the Premier League bosses went to the fucking referees in there and said, sorry. Yeah. If the Premier League bosses went over and said, look, I'm not happy with these, would the referees listen to them?
Well, this is my point. Is it right that bosses can go to referees and say, tell you what, we want
with a bag full of money.
Well, I don't know, Chris. I don't know. This is Chris Pajak from Redmen TV. And also Vine. Is it right that they... Rob, he's just throwing all kinds of bribes in. Robbie, what do you think?
I think over in the Premier League, though, they do have like some consultation with the clubs about new rules and things like that. So...
But surely rules...
It's sort of how it was done. Because I think there is consultation over certain rule changes or certain things that have maybe caused a problem the previous season. So it depends the context of it.
But doesn't it have to come from FIFA?
To be fair though, Baz, I mean we do always hear this where we go, that's a foul in the Premier League and that's a foul in Europe. That's not a foul in Europe, but that is a foul. So we get that, but to actually come out and say this is now a sending off offence, I really find that difficult to believe. That I know they can do it because they are doing it, but should they be doing it? I don't think they should.
There are different intricacies, like you said. I mean, you look at the difference between the Premier League and like when you're playing a game, even in the Champions League. You see the refereeing is completely different in the Champions League. Any contact, they blow it up. It's a foul. Whereas in the Premier League, I think in the Premier League, the managers and that have definitely had some sort of consultation with the referees where they allow it to be a more physical league than in Europe. So you never know. Maybe it's a standard thing. I don't know.
Chris, you've got obviously the list of the sending-offs there, just so we go through them. The first one happened on Friday night, New England Revolution against the New York Red Bulls. Chris, was it a sending off for you?
I don't think it was. I mean, the only one that I thought, fair enough, was the 2 yellow cards for Shearer. In what game was that there?
Toronto.
Toronto. That was the only one where I really thought to myself, fair enough. And even, to be honest, the second yellow, he does him for the elbow. It's the elbow, isn't it?
It's the elbow. He's not looking at the ball. However, he does catch... Sorry, he's looking at the ball, but he does catch him. So you'd think... I would expect a yellow card for that, to be fair.
But the first yellow, I don't know... I didn't think it really was. I just think there's too many of them. And you look and you think, none of these teams won. There was a couple of draws out of it, but 2 of them lost, you know what I mean? And that's just, it's not right.
I think it's just ruining the spectacle of what MLS is. A lot of people go there to watch the game with their families and they're finding 10 against 11. And that's quite unusual for American sport because, you know, in most sports over there, if you lose a player through discipline, they can still be replaced. You're losing a really good player, like say in the NBA, but they can be replaced. It's always 5v5. Or I just find them all really silly because a lot of them over the weekend were tackles that took the ball but also took the man. And yes, some of them were a little bit naughty because they caught the ankle. But at the same time, MLS is fast and frantic, physical, and you're taking...
Played on AstroTurf.
It as well. And a lot of them, they're going for the ball and they get there a little bit late, or they get the ball and they get the man, and you see this red instantly, and you're thinking, the only thing that's going to happen, or 2 things going to happen, tackling is going to be just gone out the game over there. And you think, well, that's a big part of the game. And number 2, we're going to see more players starting to dive, because they're going to think, I'm going to take advantage of this because this is a straight red and that could change the game, which it does. And so I think there needs to be a serious rethink on this.
It's when you look at it, it's like FIFA against Pro Evo, isn't it? In Pro Evo, you can get away with sticking it on a few before you get the card. In FIFA, the card comes out. Just going off what Ped said there, Robbie, do you see a situation where potentially something like, and this sounds ridiculous, but something like an orange card rather than a red, where he has to be substituted no matter what, if the referee deems that...
Or a sin bin.
That challenge. Or a sin... Robert, that's what I'm saying, we're talking in American sport.
Don't let them mess with our sport.
Don't start saying our sport. Don't start saying our sport.
Yeah, but we gave
but do you not see...
Don't let them start doing that.
You've just said there, you know, about the teams, the situation up in Vancouver, they played Galaxy. Labbers lost the ball. He took the ball, let it run across his body, and has gone in for the. He has gone, like Ped said, he's gone for the ball. He followed through, caught McGee on the ankle. Wasn't the greatest tackle in the world, but that was about 18 minutes in. He's gone off the pitch. Giroud, I think, was something like 14 minutes.
But that's a yellow then. That's what the
yellow
card's for.
To be
fair. But they're deciding that the red, aren't they? They're deciding.
Yeah, but was that the game where the referee went to pull the yellow card?
Vancouver game, yeah.
And then all of a sudden he got surrounded, and then 15 seconds later he's decided to pull a red out instead. He's bound to peer pressure.
I've seen that
that's
over
not
here,
the
to
league,
be fair,
that's not the league bosses, Barry, saying you've got to do this about them. That was the players on the pitch.
But that might be the players. That might be the players going, "Hey, we know about what's been going on. That was a red in the last game. You've been told," and the ref goes. God.
You know, sometimes with these things, is they kind of level out though. At the start of the season, I've seen even in the Premier League, you've had the start of the season when there's been a rash of yellow and red cards, and then as things start to settle down, as some of the referees start to realise, they, you know, all get together and they start saying, you know what, it's getting a bit ridiculous, and so it might naturally kind of, you know, deal with itself. On the sin bin thing, you know what, I've often thought that it may not be a bad shout, this sin bin thing, because it will cut out a lot of cynical stuff in the game, which might make for generally a better game. So, for instance, one of the examples I always think that a sin bin could work for is like, you'll see in a game where we've all of our players have done it for various teams that we support in the Premier League, where a player may be going through and a player just deliberately pulls him back, and we all turn around and say, oh, he took one for the team, a yellow card, but he's still on the pitch. And that player could have been going through to score a goal.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And maybe if there's they may think twice if there was a sin bin that he'd then be off for like 10 minutes.
And going back to
that could ultimately really cost his team the game. So I think there's that sin bin thing, we shouldn't just discount it completely. I think in the future.
And going back to what you were saying, Chris, about it's our sport. I mean, we've got goal line technology. We instigated the substitutes. You know, the game is always evolving. It doesn't stand still. You know, it didn't have nets at one time. You know, these things do change, and it'd be. I think MLS is a.
But an orange card.
Well,
it could be a green card, whatever.
I just think MLS
don't need any extra cards.
I think MLS
cards.
Yeah, I think that's right. But I think MLS is a perfect place for the game to evolve. It already has with conferences, with playoffs, and I just think. Personally, you just need a video referee.
I think the other way. I think the other way round. Really, I think American sports love to penalise you Look across all American sports, they'll throw a penalty in the NFL for 5 yards or 10 yards or 30 yards down the pitch and stuff. They're always looking to penalise you for something. Do you know what I mean? And I think it just take a step back and let them play the game. Because the game is football, it's a contact sport. I don't think you need extra cards or anything like that. I actually, you know what, it's the first time I've heard the sin bin idea put like that. I would agree to something like that because I can see the benefits of the game. But when you're looking to penalise teams constantly and get people sent off, at that point I'm not interested.
Just to clarify, the orange card, it means he needs either sin bin or he's got to be substituted immediately. It's not just a card for the sin. I want an orange card today. It's great.
The thing that's annoyed me most about these sending offs is, for me, I think they're basic tackles, which we see in the Premier League every week, where you see a player going for the ball, he catches a player slightly late, and the player goes down. In MLS over the weekend, they've all been sending offs.
Do you reckon they would have been sending us in, maybe say La Liga?
No, I don't think they would be. I just think what you're seeing is a rule being implemented to the highest, to the maximum, and I just tackling is as much a part of the game for me as scoring a goal. It's got to be there. If it's not, then you lose a massive part of the game. So I think there needs to be a rethink. But as Robbie said before, these things do tend to balance themselves out. So whether they go away and have a think and go, actually over the weekend we went too far, or the players say we're going to have to adapt our games, I'm sure it'll settle down.
Well, one point Lyle made last night was he doesn't feel as though the coaches are putting their points across to the players enough to say to them, listen, you can't go in like this because it's a red card. I mean, 5 red cards again this week.
The thing is, though, Ped's right, they're not red cards.
Red cards
they're just normal tackles. They're going in for it. And if the coaches are now saying, lads, don't tackle because you'll get sent off, that's stupid.
It's mad, isn't it?
And you will, and as I said before, you'll get more diving because the reaction will be rolling around on the floor, makes it look worse. The referees will start sending people off. And they are basic tackles. That's what really annoys me.
They're making a problem for themselves.
They are.
That's the
Man up!
Man the hell up. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Has it gone too far now, or do you back the referees? Me and Ped have had conversations with certain people on Twitter over the weekend who fully back the referees and said they are red cards. So
do you know whose fault it is, very finally? Soccer moms. It's your fault. You want to wrap your little babies up in cotton wool, don't you? Don't play that sport with helmets and stuff.
Peter McPartland's views are purely Peter. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Follow us on Twitter at the MLS Show. Like us on Facebook. It's like on Toffee TV. I'm in. We swapped. And give us a subscribe. We'll catch you next time on the MLS Show. Robbie, listen, because you're a star on BBC now. No BBC here. No BBC here. The other week, I was having a go at referees. CBBs, yeah. The other week, I was having a go at MLS referees. And this weekend, once again, we have seen 5 red cards, was it? When they should be basically rare. They're almost commonplace. Ped, what's going on?
I don't know. It's just awful. Just terrible, terrible decisions. And they all seem to be the same decision. And I'm not happy.
Is it? Do you blame referees before I give you a bit of information?
Considering I already know the information you're going to give me,
a load of questions. Did you blame referees for that?
I've said before that I think referees are too quick to pull that card out the pocket in MLS. I've said it before, and that seems to be the way. But it might be someone else's fault. I don't know, Baz, is it?
Right, out. And apparently said MLS bosses went to the referees at the start of the season and said any kind of challenge with your studs up is a red card, regardless of the
I've got a question.
Right?
If the Premier League bosses went to the fucking referees and said... Sorry. Yeah. If the Premier League bosses went over and said, look, I'm not happy with these, would the referees listen to them?
Well, this is my point. Is it right that bosses can go to referees and say, tell you what, welcome to the MLS Show. It is me, Baz. Ped. Loads of you have been asking where he is. He is.
I'm here.
Here. Bimboed up. Got Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV and New York Red Bulls supporter. Chris Pajak from Redmen TV, avid New York City fan.
Mate.
So I've got to make sure these two don't start
hold on.
A little bit of a battle.
Why New York City?
It's like a 10-minute long video.
Yeah, let's just carry on. You just chill.
Like Man City
Robbie,
fan.
Go on, Chris, before
No, you tell them, because I'm just gonna steal your point.
Oh, were you? Well, don't do that, Chris, yeah. Well, I was having a go at referees for fun over the weekend because it was ridiculous. I watched the game last night and Lexi Leilas was talking about it and said, basically, Peter Walton come out on Saturday.
Just love alliteration.
The great Peter Walton. We all remember him for how great an official he was here in England.
He's in charge of the referees in MLS, so that's half the battle, isn't it?
There's your problems. But he's come